Hi Aquarius, I hope that you're doing well. Before we get into it, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. It looks like you're taking action and allowing that to drive you towards something that you feel a deeper sense of passion for. I'm seeing like some sort of action is needed from you. Once you've thought something over. You may even need to like call something out or say something, bring something to light, have a particular conversation after you've thought about it. This is something that you would be deliberating within your own like private time, quiet time. You may not be letting everybody in on what exactly you're thinking about as far as this particular subject. I'm hearing that this is something that only matters to you, or it matters to you. Not in a way where other people wouldn't care about this, but it just seems like something that it's not for show. This is something like privately that you're looking into. Like, I'm seeing it not be something for personal gain as far as like other people and like you being recognized for something. It looks like something that you're thinking over that like you don't really need other people to join in on. Interesting. And then it's like once you figure out whatever this is, or like you think about it as much and like work it out, then there's a sense of like maybe bringing something to light, so then maybe going even public with something. But it starts off as like not many people knowing about this, if anyone at all. For some of you, this is about you actually walking away from something and you're sorting things out like prior to actually like taking the action to do that. And this can be so many things. It can be job, it can be a company, it can be like a place that you frequent, it can be an activity that you're moving away from, it can be something going on within a relationship for you. It can even be like a lifestyle or like habits. Or now you're going to be pursuing something. It's more so like I'm seeing the destination be more important than what it is that you're moving away from, because that may just be like a natural consequence to you like following a dream or following something that you feel passionately about. For some of you, I'm seeing another party come into the picture and be involved. I'm getting a lot of earth energy here. I'm seeing Taurus on the bottom of the deck. We also started off with the Hermit, which is Virgo. Remember, too, we all have Taurus in our chart. We all have a second house. We all have Virgo in our chart. So interesting. So I'm seeing you be more in the energy of Virgo. I wonder what this would mean for you. I'm hearing so many different words. Can we minimize this a little bit? So you may be thinking about, I'm hearing introduction, introducing. You may be thinking about introducing yourself to someone or introducing yourself to something. Because this can be something that you want to get involved in, and like you may need to like give something to be involved in this, which is an interesting concept. But that can even be, I'm hearing notification, that can even be like you're applying for something. It's like you're thinking about like where you want to take this for yourself. there's definitely somebody on the receiving end of this for sure. Because this feels almost like a cross-watcher vibe a little bit, or like something in the reverse. But we're just going to play it as I'm seeing it here. So, thinking about, reflecting on, doing something outwardly prior to like actually doing that thing. I'm seeing something about an offer. Like it looks like you're thinking about it, you're reviewing it, and then you're figuring out like where you want to take this. I'm seeing it be part of a new beginning for you. So this can be like even like incorporating something into your life. I'm hearing daily routine. That would make sense for Virgo popping up, because that does represent our daily routine. For some of you, this can be a business transaction is what I'm hearing. Interesting. Maybe you want to work with somebody. For some of you, you can be applying somewhere, or like right now you're figuring out where you want to apply. I'm seeing like the thought process of like before you take this action, I'm seeing it be very important. And I'm also hearing lucrative that you think about this prior to taking action. Because this is something that like may even be happening over time. Like for some of you, there could even be some sort of application process. Or it's like whatever this thing is that you want to get involved in. You want to get like your feet wet before jumping all the way in is what I'm hearing. And this can even be like getting to know someone or getting to more familiar with an activity, something that you're learning about. This can be also something that you've been researching too with the Hermit, because I also see there be a connection with like the internet and technology and research, and like also maybe a move that you've been kind of silent about, maybe until you feel more sure like as to whether something is going to work out or go through for you. I wonder if this is like a creative project or a passion, or this is a person. I'm seeing it can be like a mix of these different things. For those of you that this is not involving another person, this would mean finding something that you're like, you know what, I want to take hold of this situation. I feel really excited about exploring this passion that I have. I feel like I have a real talent for it, or it's something that I can work on and become better with, and I actually want to produce something, because we're seeing the Empress here, which as much as this can be like a person that you are inviting into your life, this can also be a moment where you have found something that you want to explore and you feel very excited about it and you feel passionate about this thing. For some of you, I'm getting something about writing a book here. That would also make sense for the Virgo energy, because Virgo can represent like editing and stuff like that, and writing. It can also be anything related to health, healthcare, exercise, anything detail-oriented, food habits. I'm also getting something about mental health here. It also has to do with like your routine, like jobs and stuff, like what you do on a daily basis. Yeah, I'm seeing for a lot of you, this can be like you find something and you're like, I want to explore that, I want to pursue that, and I think that I can make something become of this. And I'm seeing it be something that you are completely capable of doing and exploring, and it's like related to what your passions and creativity are tied into. This looks very exciting. And it definitely can be something related to like job and business, to see the Pentacles here too. But that can also be, it can also be an interpersonal relationship. So just apply it wherever it makes sense for you to apply it within your life. I'm seeing a lot about creativity and passion, and something that you want to take charge of. Like I'm even seeing the Empress like be the personification of like some passion that you want to pursue, that like with the Empress, it's about nurturing something into fruition. So it's like planting the seed for something and watering it and like watching it grow and protecting it and giving it sunlight and attention and like taking care of it in the way that you would until it comes to fruition, until you can like produce something from that, or something is produced. It's like, in a way, a means to an end. And it looks like something that you're taking some sort of like creative liberty to be addressing. For those of you that this is a person, this can be somebody that you are like methodically trying to figure out how to pursue in order to have a new beginning with this person. And it looks like your best bet is going to be taking things like slowly, in a methodical manner, well thought out, like critical thinking about how you want to pursue this like person or this passion. And it can be like both of those areas of your life too. This can be like somebody that you want to bring in on something, and it can also be a passion or an activity, even a location that you want to be exploring. Really anything, a talent. It's interesting. I'm kind of getting like a like lurid orange off of this. Like, I don't usually see it as being very bright, and it feels like almost too saturated. I'm getting something about orange cones. I'm hearing caution. Whatever this thing is that you're having feelings for, that you're pursuing, it looks like you want to be like very deliberate with how you do this and conscientious. Like, you don't want something to be overkill. Or maybe it's just about not going into it too fast. Or like not being too rigid. There's a sense of like flowiness that is going to be needed. And I am seeing like a little bit of like a rigid nature here. So this may be something that like you're working on becoming more flexible with, like as you're pursuing and discovering this further. For those of you that had been like working on a certain job before, it seems like you are ready to pursue something new. Because you may feel like it's the right time to be leaving now. I'm seeing something kind of fall into place for you, where like the timing ends up being just right for something to happen in the way that you want it to. And it's like something, either like you do something at the right time, or something enters into your life at exactly the right moment. And it leads to a new chapter for you. I'm hearing paying penance. Maybe you felt like karmically you were kind of stuck with something before, and now you get to break away from whatever that was. Like, maybe you even feel like a karmic contract or a soul contract or something is finished now. Something that you had been tied up in. Yeah, I'm seeing you make some sort of power move here. And, like, I don't even know what exactly a power move is, but this is what I'm getting. Like, maybe just something that you feel like you're on top with. It puts you in an advantageous position, maybe. And I'm seeing there being something like very carefully processed right now. So as we were talking about like wanting to make sure that like we don't get too rigid with whatever this is. So there's a sense of like when we are co-creating with the universe, when we are manifesting with the universe, there's a sense of like we can draw the blueprint and then we have to allow the universe to color it in for us. So there's that sense of like working and having this idea that you want and having a sense of structure when it comes to that, and also like being flexible when it comes to like how you get there and like the stops that happen in between. Because I'm seeing you now fall into a position where you have the opportunity to make a move that you're going to need to be like meticulous with this, and it's something that is really going to pull on you as far as like I'm seeing strength not just be related to this new chapter, which would mean like courage and endurance. I'm also hearing something about sympathy. Not just about courage and endurance related to this new beginning, but I'm also seeing the strength card be related to you being reliable, steady, hardworking, balanced. There's a sense of like wanting to adopt this earth nature while also moving with the fire energy too. And also be like quick thinking as well, like thinking on your feet, and also recognizing like when and where you're not ready to make decisions and where you might need to like hold something off prior to committing to it is what I'm hearing. Because you want to make sure that you're putting in the right amount of effort so you're not like over or under exerting yourself. Because I'm seeing something that like you even get to control the pace of how this goes. I'm seeing it kind of like all lay on you. It seems because like you're in charge of this thing because you're the head of it. So you get to be like the mastermind behind this. Because you have like the creative liberty and freedom to be doing what you want, because this is something like that is originally yours. I'm seeing you just be very much in charge of all of this. But I'm not seeing that even be intimidating to you. I'm seeing that be like feeling a sense of freedom. Like, if anything, you may lean maybe too far over onto the side of like enjoying that sense of control that you have. So that's where I'm seeing like the rigidity may step in. So you want to be mindful of that, because it's something that you're going to have to also flow with. Because I'm getting something even about getting a little temperamental sometimes, like when things don't go as you want them to. But I'm seeing that as also being part of like you also care about this thing, like what this is that you're pursuing. It's so interesting because I'm seeing like such a split. Like for some of you, this does feel like a person, and for others of you, I'm seeing this be like a passionate endeavor of like you pursuing something like for like your career, or for something like personally that you're interested in doing, like some activity or something that you're learning about, or like a business that you're building or growing, or like yeah, career, something, a dream that's coming to fruition for you. But to have both the Empress and the King of Wands, there's like a lot of creative energy. I know we keep saying passionate over and over again, but I'm like definitely picking that up here. Like I'm seeing you just be so here for something, so present for this thing, like so ready and willing to participate and interested in this thing that you're doing. Like there's such a high level of engagement that I'm reading from the energy. And that's a beautiful thing too. Because we all know that feeling of when you feel like the color gets sucked out of your environment and you feel kind of passionless about stuff. And I'm seeing it just be the opposite of this. So it feels very exciting and thrilling to be a part of. So you want to also make sure to fight for yourself and also what you deserve, as far as like, are you being compensated for what you're doing? Like, are you, this is that whole thing about navigating, like, am I putting in too much work? Am I not putting in enough work? You want to make sure that there's a sense of balance. Like, for some of you specifically, when it comes to like actual money that you're making, this can also like be equated to like energy that you're putting in and like how you are being compensated, which can like span beyond the realm of like actual money. There's a sense of like needing to set up things properly so you don't feel like you're exerting too much or being taken advantage of, and so you're also like putting in the amount of work that you feel is right to be putting in. Like, there's a sense of objectivity that you want to make sure that you maintain while also like doing the best you can, and also like being balanced with that, so you're not like depleting yourself, but more so you're like charging and recharging. Because if you if you balance this out in the right way, you are not going to feel burnt out or depleted. There's going to be a way for this to actually be something that like gives you more energy, and it like feeds off of itself within a cycle, is what I'm getting. So yeah, I'm seeing something very, very delicate be related to that. Interesting. I am hearing Taurus, and I would imagine that would relate, like, Taurus. I'm hearing Taurus suggests it's like kind of related to like our security, both like our self-esteem and also our 3D security as well, and our financial freedom is what I'm hearing. Can be things that we have ownership over, like the things that we collect as well. I'm seeing too, there's a notion of like, you may have the opportunity to cut corners. You don't want to do that here. I'm seeing it be an option for you, and I'm seeing it be suggested that you don't do that. Because like for some of you, there's even a way to like cheat a system. You're being guided not to. Because I'm seeing justice be like some sort of system or something that you don't want to mess with the balance of, and you may have the opportunity to like either do something or get involved with someone that like would not be. I'm even getting something about taxes here. You want to make sure that you're doing everything straight up, because it would be something that comes back around and affects you karmically, at least. This can also be being mindful of like whether or not you're being objective in a particular situation. Like, are you being fair? Are you being balanced? Could you look at something from a different perspective? Are you not seeing everything? Are you seeing everything? Is there something that you need to look further into? This can mean too that like if this is not related to your action, it's about making sure that like whatever this is that you're getting involved in, because this can be a company that you're getting involved in, you want to make sure that morally like you are in alignment with like that they are in alignment with your mantra space, like with your moral space, with what you believe is in alignment with like your integrity and whatnot. Because you may have an offer come in where like you don't agree with like the stance that a company is taking or something like that, and you want to be mindful of that, because it's something that you're going to feel like you're compromising a part of yourself, like maybe even for the sake of money. So it's like, are you going to negotiate your morals here, or is this something that you're going to stick with? Yeah, because you may just be looking into something. For some of you, I'm seeing that this can even be like with the company that you're with now, or like where you're working now. You may see something going on and be like, oh, that's not right. Like, you may be calling something out, actually. I'm seeing someone even like recognize that they don't like something that's going on within the environment, and they're like applying for other places to work in other places. Being as compassionate as possible and doing what you feel like is right is going to be the antidote for this situation. Because you may even have some emotional attachment, but I'm seeing it's something that you're going to be letting go of. Because you may be like making excuses for like someone or something. And this is going to need to end because there's a sense of like prioritizing yourself and your beliefs and your self-love and like what feels empowering rather than making decisions out of a space of like fear or loss. And I'm seeing that ultimately, in order for you to have this new beginning, if you have the strength and determination and grit to pursue this new beginning for yourself, and additionally let something go that you're not meant to hold on to anymore, you're going to be immediately like upgrading. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing you step right into the position of the Empress, which is feeling very good about the moves that you're making, feeling good about yourself as well, feeling like you're properly listening to your needs, meeting your needs. I'm also hearing listening to your thoughts. It's like making room to like hear all of these different aspects of yourself and be able to tend to them and pay mind and like really focus on yourself also in general, which is going to nurture your sense of creativity. I'm also hearing your autonomy. Because it even looks like there's something that you're figuring out as far as like a way that you want to be living your life and how you want to like move through that also. There's even a sense of self-discovery here tied in with decisions that you're making and what that means for you and like who you believe you are. Very interesting. I'm looking at the Two of Cups here. So I'm seeing you decide that, like, within this situation, you're going to make the move that you feel is most empowering for you to make, which for some of you, this is going to be, like, you getting brave with something to make a decision. I'm also hearing getting smart about it. So it means, like, really paying attention to this choice. I'm seeing strength be in the very center of this, and it's related to, like, something that you've been pondering, and also, like, the moves that you make that lead you to, like, where we end here with the Two of Cups. So you may even be prioritizing yourself where you hadn't been before, and being like, this is a strong decision for me to make, and it may be like the more difficult one, but it's going to be worth it to you. Because I'm seeing like you get to a place where you are valuing yourself so much and the decisions that you want to make for yourself that like nothing is stopping you. You're not allowing anything to stop you or hold you back. Which also means you like being completely accountable and understanding that you're the one that's in charge of your happiness and nobody else is. And that if you want to like live an empowered life, that means sometimes making more tough calls, but it's something that's going to be worth it to you because of how you end up feeling at the end of the day. And it's like just you and yourself at the end of the day, really. So I'm seeing something that you're sorting out. It really does feel related to like lifestyle and choices that you've been making and like something that you're still working on, like as we all are. Especially when it comes to like leaving behind things that are like that we don't see as being like right, or things that we feel are unfit for us, things that we feel like are dangerous or more related to the shadow. Things that lack a sense of consciousness, moving away from things that feel like empty or unfulfilling, even things that are like just shiny but then they have no depth or substance to them. And then I'm seeing like this whole paradigm shift that's happening for you. And I'm seeing like an ownership being taken now, especially when it comes to like what you deserve, how you deserve to be treated, what your standards are, what your expectations are, where the bar is set, who you're allowing into your life, what you're participating in, if that matches that for you. And this can be like things you're involved with as much as this can be people and activities and jobs. For some of you too, there was something going on where because of feeling an emotional attachment to someone, there may have been stuff going on that wasn't sitting well with you, but you were like, well, because I love them, I'm just gonna allow them to run around and do whatever because that's what love is. And you may be like really looking into that and realizing that there is an issue with that mind frame, because I'm seeing you even like maybe realize something that you hadn't been realizing. For some of you too, you could even be like, if you're having like particular cyclical or relationship issues, some of you may be like looking into some type of therapy even, or like reading something. There's something about like getting information on like certain things that had been cyclical connected with your interpersonal relationships. Because it's like, why do I keep experiencing the same thing? Or like, why do I feel like we have this repeated problem between you and someone? And it feels like recognizing self-sabotage when it comes to love, so-called. Especially when you know someone is not like showing up for you, or you don't really trust someone, or there's like suspicion, paranoia, stuff like that. For some of you too, it's even that space of, I feel like we're going on a little bit of a tangent, maybe a specific message. It's that space of like knowing that somebody isn't really present or isn't really showing up, but you may be like holding on to like part of a fantasy that like is never actually going to come to fruition. But it feels comfortable to hold on to that, because there's a sense of like when you hold on to like a dream or a fantasy like that, it can be whatever you want it to be. Which can be like a coping strategy because it's avoiding reality, it's escapism. So it's like you deny all of the facts within your real life and hold on to something that just feels good when you fantasize about it. Which like we all have the capacity to do as well. So it's not just like one sign deals with that, all of us do. That's Neptune showing up to say hi to everybody. So I'm looking at Virgo, Venus, Libra, Leo, Sagittarius. This may be parts of your chart, parts of another person's chart. Very interesting. It looks like you're healing something within your interpersonal relationships. It feels very much like one of those moments where you kind of like snap out of the matrix and realize that maybe you had been caught in a particular cycle. But it was like almost like a tape skipping repeatedly. Or I'm even seeing a turntable where there's like some repeated skip that keeps happening, and it's like you could have been cycling and just like been repeating the same dynamic or the same like thought cycle even with someone or with yourself. And it was something that like maybe you even grew so accustomed to that you like weren't noticing it as much. And then you have a moment when you realize something and you kind of step back and realize that you had been like in the middle of a play. You know those moments? It's like you recognize that you had just been an actor on the stage. And then the curtain closes and you're like, I was in a costume the whole time. Like, this isn't real. I'm just getting a sense of that. Like, maybe something that you had thought was the fourth wall, you end up realizing that it wasn't. We're getting too far out here. Let's bring it back. I'm looking at the King of Cups here. There might be something even emotionally that you're still sorting through, because I'm seeing like some inevitable ending that's happening, and your guides are strongly urging you to like manifest your emotional response in the healthiest way possible, in the most well-adjusted, well-adapted way possible. Because it seems to me like you have really been putting something off that just needed to come to an end. And for some of you, you still may not be there yet. I'm hearing there's no paradigm that you continue unless you want to. As the Magician pops out. It feels like a moment where you recognize that you can actually be in control of your reality. I think a lot of the times when we feel a sense of helplessness, it's because we like have not yet recognized how much control we do have. Like, it's a moment between the inner locus of control and the external. Like, if you have a high external locus of control, let's hope I'm not butchering this, it's been a long time. It means that you believe that like the things that happen around you are all chance, and that it's like based off of luck essentially, and that you don't really have control over the things that happen to you, and that the world is just happening, and sometimes it's against you, and like if you end up getting fired from your job, it's like the company's fault. It wasn't something that you did. Like, there's this whole thing. And then when you have a high internal locus of control, it's that you believe that like you create your own reality, and that you are like in charge of things, and that things aren't left up to chance. Like, you make your own luck, stuff like that. And it seems like one of those moments where you recognize like you do have the power to control things, to control your perspective. Like, even in a quantum way, I'm seeing this run very deep. So it's one of those moments where, like, this thing that you had maybe been putting off for so long, like, you may actually get up to a place where you're finally ready to end something, and then as soon as you do, it's like, it's nothing like you thought it would be. It's one of those moments where, like, you could have really procrastinated something, and then you end up doing it, and you're like, why did I put this off for so long? Like, I can't believe how long I kept myself stuck in something. I'm seeing it be a moment like that. But it was because you may have been caught up in the Maya, caught up in the illusion, caught up in some sort of attachment that you had, and something that up until that point you weren't willing to let go of, or weren't willing to change because it felt comfortable. Or you were getting some sort of like instant gratification from this thing. And I'm seeing it be like how we control... I'm hearing the word delineation. How we control the direction of like our fate and our karma. And this goes back to that whole thing about like you can draw out the blueprint and then the universe fills in the rest of it. But like it's very also important for you to draw the blueprint, because if you don't, then you are going to feel like everything's just happening all over the place, and you are subconsciously drawing the blueprint, but you're not really aware of it. And that is the difference between like being the magician versus not realizing that you are. Because all of us have that capacity, all of us have that power. It's a matter of remembering, is what I'm hearing. So there may be some stuff that, like, if you really think about it, there may be relationships, habits, any sort of cycle, things that you're involved in that you're like, that is not in alignment with my highest good, or that's not benefiting me and my growth, or I'm doing this because I'm scared. And I'm seeing like something that you're ready to move through, something that like maybe you even feel like you have the proper skills and strategies to be able to end certain things and be able to adjust and cope with that decision and what that means for you. But until we are in a place to where we have what we need to cope with something, we usually put off ending things because even mentally we know that we are unprepared. So it's about getting to that place and preparing for it so you are ready to like make some sort of maybe multiple executive decisions within your life that are going to greatly impact you, that are going to raise your efficacy, your self-efficacy greatly. And there's a sense of having that recognition that the universe is absolutely working with you. It's just a matter of you remembering and recognizing and stepping into like your power and understanding. I'm hearing the creator's effect. I'm looking at Mercury and Jupiter here. I'm hearing if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. And I'm also seeing something like to end with the world on the bottom of the deck. It just feels like this big cycle or big chapter that you have now closed out, that you are now completing, like once you get to these final steps of this. Okay, we're going to end it here. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.